Hello guys, today we're back looking at the TW35, and what I'm doing really is taking a look at the front axle and seeing if I can upgrade the front tyres on the tractor. So this is a Universal Hobbies Ford TW35. It had dual wheels on the rear and I removed that and changed it for this wider tyre, but I never changed the front tyre, so I always had these skinny tyres on the front of it, which I don't think really matched the rear tyre. There's a good wide tyre on the back and this is quite narrow. So I had got Britain's TW30, I think this was, so this would have been an older version of probably Gen 1, if this is Gen 2 I guess, but it had this axle, but the Britain's models don't just have the same sort of rigidity in the joints, so you can see all the flex that there is there, and the same, the wheels kind of bow out, whereas the Universal Hobbies, the axle, the hub sort of assembly is nice and solid. So if I hold this, you'll see there's not nearly as much play. This little bit here is probably the screw in here you could loosen out. The actual assembly in here, this sort of hinging joint, that is pretty solid. So I was looking at this and I just wondered if the tyre might fit okay on one of the Universal Hobbies wheel rims, because it's obviously a much nicer wheel rim. It's a nicer paint. The detail is much better on the Universal Hobbies one than the Britain's wheel. But it turns out the slot that's in the centre of the tyre here, so this little slot that the central part of the wheel would connect onto is pretty much the same size on this wider tyre as it is on this tyre. So this is the Britain's tyre on the Universal Hobbies rim, and you can see that line there, that's lined up pretty perfectly. On the back it's overhanging slightly, but it's not too bad, and that's not going to slide. That is pretty solidly in place there. So that's actually a very simple upgrade for your Universal Hobbies TW35 if it's something you wanted to do, and I think it works out pretty good. So I'll just show you how to actually do that. So this is the assembly that was here. We'll take a look from this side. So I'll just show you on the wheel that I've already modified. So on the Universal Hobbies model, there is a central sort of a dust cap, and that hides the screw that holds the wheel in place. So that's just glued on. There was a little bit of glue there, so we just need to crack that on this one to get it off. So hopefully that won't be too difficult. That came off. We lost a pin there. This one was glued on a little bit better than the other, so we're going to have to glue that back on anyway, so not a big deal. But now you can see that little bit of play that's in that screw. So let's just, out of interest, see can we get rid of that play just by tightening this up. Okay, so that's too tight. The wheel is solid there. Back it off slightly. A little bit of rotation, but no play. Still a little bit tight. Go again. Not too bad. Still very little play. That's completely free there. And there's a little bit of play, so it's kind of a little bit of fine tuning to get that exactly where you want it. But that's how you get the wheel off. You get access to this screw. We can take this out now, and that gets us our wheel. So getting this tyre off isn't too difficult. It's fairly soft compared to the other tyre that we're going to put on it, so you might be able to just pull this one off with your fingers. Well, you might need a screwdriver to get it off. And let's see, can I use this tweezers? I just need to get in behind the tyre and the rim, and we'll hopefully get it off. We'll try and pull it off the back because We don't want to damage the paintwork on the front really. So you can see there you're probably going to damage the rim slightly getting it off. Okay, so there's that tyre off there. That wasn't too difficult, but this tyre is pretty soft. But the one on here is pretty hard. There's nearly no flex in this one at all. So we're not too worried about this rim, so I will get a screwdriver and just get this one off, because it's going to be much more difficult. Be careful with the screwdriver that you don't stick it into your finger when you're doing this sort of stuff. It can be very easily done. So I'm just looking for an opening in the rim, so something like this area here. We might be able to get a grip with the screwdriver. Okay, so there we go, we've got that wheel off there. I'm not sure if you can see that so well, but the opening in here, despite the tyre being much larger, it has quite thick sidewalls, so it's not actually terribly wider on the central position on the bigger tyre, despite it being slightly larger. It is also a slightly larger diameter as well. It's a slightly bigger wheel all round. That is one thing. Now we need to get our tyre back in the opposite direction, so we want that in there. And to do that, we'll approach it from this side, so that hopefully we'll get it into the wheel without having to scrape the front. So if I can get the first half in, it wouldn't be too bad. There we go, that's that on, and I don't think we damaged the rim too much. Maybe a little dent there, but it's not too bad. So that's our two wheels converted over to use the Universal Hobbies wheel and the Britain's tyre. So that's a wider tyre. I think that suits our rear tyre a lot better. It's not really changed how much we can move the steering either. The tyre that we've just put on is pretty much in the centre. It's fairly in proportion to the hub that's there, so no, it's not hitting anything. We've still a very tight turning circle. I don't think we could even turn this sharply with the steering servo as it is. So that's a fairly simple upgrade that you can do to your Universal Hobbies TW35 if you happen to have a spare axle from TW30, Britain's one. I had it because I'm using the cab and other parts to make a Ford County model. So if you were doing something like that, you could have that spare axle, or of course you could just buy it to do this upgrade if that's what you wanted to do. I think that's a pretty good upgrade, and the Universal Hobbies axle is much better than the Britain's one. There's far less play. Of course, it doesn't matter if it's a static model you're doing, but for an RC conversion, you really want to get rid of as much play out of the system as you can. So I'll just put this back together and just show you what it would look like. So there you can see the tyres are pretty much perfect match for the rear ones. It kind of looks like the front axle is really wide on the camera for some reason, but they're basically the same width there. and the tyres in the front are slightly narrower than the ones in the rear. I'm not sure where I got these ones. I know I bought the tyres on their own. It says Trelleborg on them. I think they're a CQ tyre, I'm not sure. I bought them off some spare parts website. So I think that's a good upgrade for the tyres there. We'll have to obviously glue back these hubs back in place. Another thing I'm planning to do on this TW is to do something with this link bar that goes between the two front wheels that joins them together. These little bumps, I suppose they were hard stops to stop it turning too much when it was a static model, but now they're just getting in the way. The servo drives as far as this bump and hits it, and our steering is kind of limited. So I'm going to do something about replacing that soon enough. But for now, this is all I wanted to show you, just that you can kind of change your tyres on this fairly simply. Just one of these axles, you didn't even have to 3D print any spare parts. The rim that we already had worked pretty good. So if you thought that was useful, don't forget to hit the like button, and if you want to see the next few steps on the TW, don't forget to be subscribed and get the bell on and all that stuff. So that's all I have for today. Thanks very much for watching.